Hello, everyone. Welcome to How to Read Chinese Poetry podcast. I'm Zong-qi, the program host. In this podcast program, my colleagues and I aim to introduce cutting-edge scholarship on Chinese poetry to a broad general audience. We will present 52 episodes covering the major poetic genres developed over China's long history. Each episode features close reading of one or more of the best-known Chinese poems, with an aim to illuminate their literary greatness and cultural significance. For all the discussed poems, Chinese text, English translation, romanization, and brief notes are provided at our website, howtoreadchinesepoetry.com. By following the 52 episodes, listener will gain a bird's-eye view of the thematic, formal, and generic evolution of Chinese poetry from antiquity to the modern era. Instruct and delight is what we wish to accomplish in each talk. Without further ado, let's begin. Hello, everyone. Now we are getting started on topic 16. Song poems Sanqu of the Yuan Dynasty. It is my pleasure to introduce our guest host, Professor Xinda Lian. Today, he is presenting his first episode entitled The Power of Poetic Imagery. Let us warmly welcome Professor Lian.
This very short Sanqu poem we are looking at here happens to be the single best-known Sanqu work by one of a few best Sanqu writers, Ma Zhiyuan. Ma is one of the four great Yuan dramatists, but is also well known for his Sanqu works. His mastery of the art is exemplified by these autumn thoughts, in which a series of carefully chosen images establish an unforgettable poetic mood. The imagistic nature of this song is obvious, except for the word xia, or to go down, at the end of the third line. The whole song contains no active verb, but only descriptive noun phrases. Some commentator would therefore compare it to a picture, saying that the poet unfolds a scene like a scroll of Chinese painting. This comparison, however, might oversimplify the poetic experience and miss the real spell of the piece. Actually, the poet does not encourage readers to view as onlookers the picture of a traveler in an autumn evening. Rather, he lures them to identify with the traveler. This explains why, by the end of the song, the homesickness of the traveler would come to readers not as a trite sentiment, but as a personal experience with a heart-rending freshness. The exactly identical verse structure of the first three lines often causes the unwatchful eyes to read them together as a parallel, the triplet. A close examination of the value carried by the three clusters of images established in these lines reveals that as far as the poetic narrative is concerned, the first two lines form a thematic unit, while the third functions on a different level. The withered vines, old trees, and flocks of black crows in the first line present a wild and repelling, if not threatening, nature. whereas in the second line, the human home and the bridge, which is man-made and has much to do with everyday human activity, with the gurgling water underneath, create a congenial ambience. The implication of the contrast between those two sets of images, however, renders itself fully only when readers come to the third line. Compared with the concrete images in the two foregoing lines, the images in the third line read as being less specific and more like symbols. The ancientness of the road, not sensually visible, can lead readers to go beyond the scope of the scene at hand and let them see in their mind's eye the endless road extending into other spaces and other times. The west wind indicates not only the time of year, but also implies the sadness that one feels during the decaying season. That is, all the burden carried by the image of autumn in the Chinese literary tradition. Most significantly, the synecdoche of the lean horse, in its turn, makes readers put themselves in the place of a very weary traveler and feel the hardship he endures. The third line thus allows readers to interpret and comment from a traveler's point of view on the situation presented in a couplet preceding it. The homey scene in the second line appears so livable and so inviting simply because it is a familiar scene that the weary traveler sees in a very unfamiliar and repelling setting, which is represented by images from the first line. It touches of his memory of home, yet paradoxically, it also reminds him that his own home is in another place and its comfort is far beyond reach. The sight of the homeward twilight crows at the end of the first line has already suggested the time of day. As if this is not enough, the time is pronounced again at the fourth line. The evening sun goes down in the west. This line is the shortest in the song and uses the only action verb in the whole piece to convey the message with a sense of urgency and inevitability. The day is running out, just as the year is approaching its end. This is the time when traveler fears that he should be home, but everything he sees tells him that home is at the end of the earth.
Let us thank Professor Lian for such a stimulating talk. We look forward to his second episode on song poems next Tuesday. I hope you enjoyed the talk. Let us relax and listen to a reading of the poem in Mandarin.
天净沙，秋思。枯藤老树昏鸦，小桥流水人家。古道西风瘦马，夕阳西下，断肠人在天涯。
To the tune Sky Clear Sand, Autumn Thoughts. Withered vines, old trees, crows at dusk. A small bridge, flowing water, people's homes. An ancient road, the west wind, a lean horse. The evening sun goes down in the west. One heartbroken man at the end of the earth.